Hey guys, it's Joe with VMP and
Alex with VMP.
We're here for Tuning Tuesday, episode 13. We have a few exciting things going on. We're drawing a name for the project car, currently called NFG.
That's how many entries there were. You hear how many papers are rustling in there?
There's a lot more entries than that, but
yes. We have to go through the names because some of them are not safe for work.
Yeah, NSFW.
NSFW.
But I guess we'll be picking a name out of the hat.
Yeah, we'll be picking.
Go ahead. Well, there was the car.
Yes, the car that you saw on the screen just now. That's the new project car that we picked up. It's a 2011 automatic GT. Has a whole bunch of miles. No, not really. Actually, isn't it pretty good on miles?
I think it's 80-ish.
Okay.
80-ish thousand.
Bone stock. It's got like single chamber flow masters. That's it. So
FXB5 or FXB6.
Exactly. FXB7.
Well, I think that's the updated code that's in it, but it was scratched out and the 7 was put there.
3 people know what the hell I'm talking about. But that's so basically, we took all the names, put them all in a hat, and we kind of pick it and see what the deal is. There was a bunch of interesting names. We kind of saw what was going on. We cut out a bunch of, cut out all the names, put it in a hat so it's random, so that we can kind of name the car, and then we can just get on to business. So let me shake the hat.
Shake, shake, shake.
Would you like to do the honor of picking the name?
Should I look?
Get in deep.
I feel like I should look.
Get in deep. Oh, baby. Alrighty, you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Very good.
So I'll speak up. Chucky, Steve Spinda, I think is how you say the name?
S-P-I-N-D-A.
So Chucky, it will now be the name of NFG.
Very good. So we have picked the name of the car, Chucky. There was a bunch of interesting names. Thanks for submitting, guys. A lot of you guys submitted a ton of names. We appreciate you guys, engaging and actually giving a crap. We like it. So yeah, it just makes it nice that people are actually engaging in the whole process. And so Chucky, she'll be known as Chucky. He'll be known as Chucky. I think because it's red and ugly.
I think if its name is Chucky, it's got to be.
Can you keep that one out so I have it?
Oh.
Yeah, it's right
Right
here.
What was it? Who was the name?
Steve Spinda.
S-P-I-N-D-A.
Okay.
Stick it on the tape there.
Steve Spinda.
Yep.
Thank
Chucky.
you.
Very good. All right. So what else is going on today? Since we've been playing around with a bunch of Gen 3s the last week, today we had some eye-opening results on the Gen 3 track attack. Did real well. We're not going to divulge any numbers, nothing. We're going to do
We're just going to be teases.
Yeah, but it's badass. It's bad, period. It's just a badass piece. It's making more power than we thought we'd ever see on certain combinations. So we just have to, get packages together, get pulley sizes and everything commensurate with.
Get boost figured out on every pulley combo and belt sizes and stuff.
I just heard you make a pull earlier today. It sounded super clean. It sounded really good. It sounded real healthy. So that Gen 3 it's making power on pump gas. A lot of power.
93.
93, it's making real good power. Again, numbers will come shortly, but yeah, remember guys, like, share, and subscribe if you want this to keep going. This is episode 13 according to Joe, so...
And keep an ay on the YouTube page for Chucky.
Chucky.
If you want to see more videos on that car and stuff that we do on that car, just check out I want to say we'll share the post on Facebook, but I think the primary video goes up on YouTube.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll get into questions then?
Sure, I guess we can get into questions unless you want to talk about in particular that's happened in the last week. I know Lights Out happened. Rebecca went up there, ran a 528. Did real well on a Gen 3.
I don't know if I announced it last week or what time it was last week, but the F-150 has a blower.
Oh, yes.
F-150 has a blower.
Joe's F-150, that thing, what size pulley's on it?
79 right now.
It pulls real good because it's a single cab for rear-wheel drive, and it actually hooks. It doesn't just blaze the tires.
It's weird. It blazes them in first, but second it hooked up, I was like...
What's going on? Now, is it because the rear differential locks? Or do you have
No, it's an electronic locker. So until that, it's kind of like an open diff.
Wow.
Michelin's, I guess?
I don't know, but it just hooks up, and I was surprised. I've been, riding back and forth with them after work, and that thing just pulls real nice, has good mannerisms. Hasn't even revised the tune. He just put a bass file in it, and he's data logging it to get it to go good. But I can't imagine why that truck can't be an insanely fast truck once you get the bars in it, a tire under, and some good fuel in the smaller pulleys. It's gonna cook, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for a regular cab truck with skinny ass tires.
Watch out for magnetic truck in the Central Florida area.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time.
Jeff wants to know how much weight you've lost from the flu.
I'm 10. For people that don't know, I've been sick the last. I don't want to make it about me, but I've lost like 10 pounds from the last. I got it. I think Thursday. I went home Thursday and dude, it was.
Murdered.
Going through it by yourself is the worst thing ever. I thought I was dead, but I think I've lost 10 pounds. And I'm not really recovering it back because I just really don't have an appetite. I mean, water can barely stay down. Monster Energy drinks still stay down. They stay down real good, but
it's all them chemicals.
I guess so. But yeah, thanks for asking. But getting there. Just let's not make it about me. Make it about VMP. So, any questions coming through?
Well, Pat says, of course, wants Gen 3 info,
Nope.
and more info.
Nope.
You'll get all the info once we have all of it.
Exactly. We compile info. We're not going to put out info that's obviously, if it's not performing well, we're not going to get excited over it, but it's performing well and above what we thought it would on pump gas. We haven't even tried race gas. We haven't even tried E85. Well, there is a car with E85 that has a Gen 3 on it, but
hasn't gone on the dyno yet.
It hasn't gone on the dyno yet. We're going to put a big boy mono on it and see what the deal is. But we're not going to give out any info until we have everything. Because what happens, right? If we say it made this on this, then people are going to want it now, or they're going to want to know, well, what will it make on this pulley? We want to give you all the info. So when we have it all, we say it made this on this, with this pulley, with this throttle body, with this cold air intake. We want to make sure we give you all the info. And we want to do it
not just the tip, all of it.
All of it, bottom out. So what we're going to want to make sure is we give you all the info for 3 different platforms, GT500, S197, and S550, which is going to be, in my opinion, the most popular S550. It's going to be the bread and butter of this all new testing because the motor's a little stronger. GT500 is a little different because some of the cars are older. We have to configure pulley sizes because this puller makes a bunch of steam, so we have to see how that pans out.
Yeah. And then
Santos says, I'm thinking of going boost. I'm trying to decide between a Vortec or a Whipple. Which would be better for a GT5 for a 15 GT?
A VMP blower. You're on VMP's site watching a VMP show and you're asking a guy Whipple or a, what is it?
Procharger?
Procharger.
Or Vortec?
Exactly.
Kind of the same thing.
Exactly.
Kind of
not. A VMP blower. There. Imagine me going, whoa, it'll be this one. Get out of here.
Dorian says, Joe can't wait for the dyno and track results.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to put it on the dyno. We're kind of busy with Gen 3 stuff.
So
and I don't know, we're spoiled. We have availability to the dyno, but being tuners, the dyno is kind of irrelevant to us.
Exactly.
At one point in time, I'll put it on the dyno, but the dyno number really doesn't matter to me as long as the car's fueling, or the truck's fueling right, the spark's reasonable for 93 octane, and then I suppose once I start chasing a power number with it, I'll throw it on the dyno just to verify A to B results. But it'll probably be a few weeks before I throw it on the dyno at minimum, just because of the amount of testing that we're doing with Gen 3, and we have a dyno appointment every day this week.
Every day this week?
Every day this week. Okay. So it's...
Yeah, there was one today. There was an 18 Mustang that showed up just for 2 pulls, made 412, but it hit a speed limiter. Fourth gear, manual, hit a speed limiter, so you didn't really get a true representation of what's what, but made 412, and then 376, 377, so consistent. Torque, 376, 377 torque, so.
Dakota's just given a shout out, says, hey Alex and Joe, been watching since the beginning, love the videos, and Alex, longtime subscriber to your YouTube channel, I've learned a lot about the Coyote platform from you.
Cool, thank you.
Diggity daffodil.
That'll work. I've noticed that the YouTube channel has become a double-edged sword a little bit. I give people some information and they say, well, Alex said, and then I think their listening comprehension really sucks. And they tell you, well, he said this, and I'm like, I never said that.
Well, this applies to a completely different platform with this.
Right.
And it's like, no.
Right. So I have to be a little careful as to what I put out there because you guys don't really listen that well. So I want to make sure that the stuff that I put out there is as general as possible. I can be specific and really tell you what you need and what to do, but I also work here, so I don't want to have phone calls here. Alex said this, so I need this. No, that's just not how it works. You have to take a close listen, rewind, listen again. But thank you. Thanks for subscribing, Dakota.
A couple more shout outs, just so you know. Richard says, Alex the bomb. Saludos from South Texas.
South Texas.
Trey Brown says, keep up the good work, guys.
Shout out Nation today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really like us.
Jeff wants to know, are you leaving the F-150 exhaust stock for now, Joe?
It is not stock. It has the stock manifolds and the stock Y-pipe and the stock cats and everything, but it does have an MBRP side exhaust on it right now. Although I don't know.
It sounds good.
It does.
It sounds good.
I just don't know how it's going to fit with the Caltrax, because it looks pretty tight with where I've seen the pictures of the Caltrax mounting. So if I...
Do they have like drop brackets right there?
Yeah, they have drop brackets that bring it parallel with the bar that mounts to the axle when you do the flip kit. So
do you have to? Do you think you have to extend it or shorten it? You don't have to. You don't want to shorten it to be right by the freaking door.
I'm not going to do that. It just looks weird. If anything, I'll have a like 3-inch aluminum exhaust fabricated for it or something.
There you go.
And then just make it like completely custom with a K.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some questions. I'm going to give you some questions, guys.
Info.
So Marty wants to know HP tuners versus SCT Advantage, pros and cons. Also, kudos to me for putting up with you guys.
Oh, damn.
Thanks, Marty.
Shots fired.
HP tuners versus SCT. Both have their advantages. I wouldn't pick one over the other. We use both because we use all the tools available in the tool chest. But Joe, unless you have anything more specific to add to that in terms of how the operating systems work, okay, I'll tell you this. HP tuners flashes in like a minute.
Yeah.
Like a minute.
On most applications. There's still some applications where it's 3 to 5 minute flashes, but on some of the applications it's fast. It just depends on yours.
11 to 14 Coyote, minute. S550, a minute. And I went, thank God. But in terms of visible parameters and stuff like that, I mean, there's SCT has some stuff that HP tuners doesn't, and vice versa. Yeah.
If you're just starting off tuning, with how the descriptions are and stuff and tables, it might be easier to use HP in some ways because it's not going to be explained so much as a definition given. So
if you get a definition.
Yeah. If you can understand what the definition means, then using HP tuners is probably going to be a tiny bit easier just because SCT doesn't have definitions for every table listed. Some of them are no description available and stuff like that. And the way that it's laid out, visually it's easier to navigate through HP for someone that's never done it before. For someone that's used to SCT, it can kind of be a little weird porting over to HP and vice versa. Yeah. But if you're starting off, HP might be a little easier, but both will get the job done.
For sure.
Matt Coates is chiming in.
Is he home?
What's up, Matt?
He says, who's the faster in go-karts out of you two?
Joe was.
Well, I think you beat me in one race.
Wasn't your kart slow? Like it didn't go off the hill?
Yeah, like you were catching up to me on a hill, and I'm like, what the
Matt's funny. He goes in, plows 7 people out of the way, then he says he's the best driver around. I mean, he literally...
I think Scott was the best driver there.
Scott, why? Not only does he have Scott has one arm, and he was like right behind Matt Coates the whole time. So Scott's the best driver. How's that? But Matt's just plowing people. Them Aussies, they just have to plow into everything and be like, yeah, I'm the best. It was a good time though. No, we took him over to Andretti in Orlando. Had a great time racing. Good fun. Honestly, I was impressed by both of them. They talk the talk, walk the walk. Him and Scott and Amanda came down here and had a good week. Did they actually land? Like, did they actually get to? I can't imagine. I think they're in Houston.
I'm guessing they are.
No, they're in Houston, I think.
Well, no, I think they left Houston last night.
Oh my God! Wow.
Oh, Matt, there's a whole conversation on where you're at. Let us know.
It's all good. We had a good time with Matt though. Come back soon.
Yeah.
Nickel White has been on both channels, basically giving you a shout out, Alex.
No, he's good people. He's one of those guys that just gets it. You send him a tune, data logs, goes to the track and runs a killing.
Doesn't send you a 40-minute cruising log?
No. Doesn't send me a cold start log where the sensors aren't even moving. Like, oh, thanks a lot, buddy. But no, I just love him. He's trouble free. I don't have to mess with him. I haven't even sent him a tune in months. He just drives the car because it's done.
Those are so nice.
Those are so nice. So rare. So nice.
William says, have you guys run into any issues with bucking at medium throttle of 30 to 50%, particularly copperhead ECMs with a blower? My own personal Pro-Charged Mustang does it, and I've seen people have a similar issue even on VMP setups in some cases. Just wondering if you know of a fix or a direction to point me in. Thank you in advance.
I'd say if someone's having the issue on a VMP setup, they should probably email us, but we do know how to fix that.
Yes. What he means is like, say if you're going up a hill, part throttle, or if you're in cruise control, 60, 70 mile an hour, and you're slightly going up a grade, the car will tend to go like a very slight undulation. We fixed that a long time ago, actually. So,
but with a ProCharger setup, that can actually be due to that can be the blow-off valve. But to answer that question, if you're one of our customers and you have our blower, we know how to fix that. Email us. If you have a different power adder and you're interested in getting that fixed, email us before we tell you we can fix it. Send us some data logs. Not a lot of the times, but sometimes that's the bypass valve being too small. You throw like a big red race valve on there and it clears up that issue without changing the tune.
Right.
Matt says he's got one flight to go.
Very good. So he's in New Zealand or some shit, I bet, right now. I'm sorry.
Man.
Keep swearing.
Justin says opinions on Bayer drag brakes.
Good.
They stopped the car.
They stopped the car, but you know, Bayer drag brakes. It's just for weight saving, so don't expect them to be OEM. Don't expect anything to be OEM.
That isn't OEM.
Right.
Israel says, with the Gen 3 being the new flavor of the year, would you recommend a Gen 2R or Gen 3 if staying on 93 octane?
Depends on the application. If you're staying on 93, that's a decision you have to make, not us. Right. The Gen 3 will make similar / more power on the same boost.
We laugh because we just branded up on the dyno. We were just like, what the? You know. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Gen 2R is plenty for 93 octane. Gen 3 is a lot for 93 octane. You'll have to pulley it down, but it will make more at the same boost level.
Now, pulley it down, you mean physically bigger?
Yeah, physically larger in size. Pulley down boost pressure, not pulley down pulley size.
Right. Well, he said pulley down.
Yeah, yeah, it is a struggle.
Michael says, how much CFM does the 173 throttle body?
A lot.
I haven't asked Justin what the CFM is.
Oh, you mean, okay, yeah, no idea.
Yeah, I think he's talking about cubic feet per minute at 28 inches mercury.
No, no idea.
Of course, Bill Brantley wants to know how much longer till the 2650.
Come on, really? You've asked that. We addressed that like months
ago.
When's it coming out?
Like
this
every
and that?
week.
Come on. Yeah. If you're saying you're fans and you ask that question, you're not fans.
Jason says, for Big Boy Horse 850 plus, would you reinforce the water jackets on a long with new sleeves on a 14 block?
850 wheel plus, it'd be a good idea. Yeah. If you're 850 crank, like 700 wheel, you probably won't have an issue without water jacket
support. If you're sleeving the engine anyway, do it all.
Yeah.
Do it all.
Yeah, if you're not just throwing rods and pistons in it with the anticipation of making like 700, 750 wheel, your anticipation is to make 850 wheel, just throw sleeves in it and throw water jacket supports in it.
Matthew says, tell me everything you know about, of course, the 2018 5.0. How much power will they handle? Any difference between the F-150 and Mustang? I need to know.
Then you need to email us.
Yes. We can't sit there for a whole show explaining to you what we know about the 18 Mustang.
Skylar says, hello from Kuwait.
Hola.
You guys recommend any supporting mods for your Coyote system, OPGS, etc.?
They're not a bad idea, but they're not necessary. The only supporting mods you technically need are the ones included in ones that we include in the kit.
Right. That's why it's a kit. We just say this is what you need, and you're good to go.
Yep.
Billy wants to know why VMP will not remote tune with HP tuners.
Because it's open source.
Yeah, we're good.
Thank you.
Billy Brantley.
We're good.
Yep.
That's exactly who it was, too.
Yep. He's asked me before.
Ben wants to know, hey guys, I recently did a few third gear watts checking out the Spark Advance and knock. On 93 octane, the most recent pull was averaging 17 on timing and I had 0 knock. Is that normal? Normally I've been averaging around the 17 timing, but always negative knock.
Okay.
So is he asking if it's normal to be at 17 degrees? It depends on the fuel quality.
The knock. Yeah, I would say the knock. Yeah, if the fuel quality is real good, the knock sensors will be in the negative, but depending how the tune was configured, it'll only see a certain amount of spark. But if the fuel quality isn't that great, the knock sensors won't be adding as much.
Yeah, and if it's negative, if it's adding in timing at 17 degrees, when you're normally looking at it, you could be at a higher ACT that's pulling timing from base, and then it's adding it back in using the knock sensor advance.
Look at your downstream temperatures, see if they were higher during that pull than the other one. Look at the data logs back to back, and you'll be able to figure out because if your ACT is like 140, 145, obviously you're going to have different readings.
We'll call it base timing too. Your base timing will be different depending on how the tune's configured based on ACT versus retard function. So if you're 150 degree downstreams and it's set with we'll call it a 50 and a 10 multiplier, then it'll pull 5 degrees out at 150. So if you're base timing 17 degrees, you're pulling 5 from that, then you're at 12 degrees base and you have to add it in negative to get back to the 17 degrees that you're at on a pole where your downstreams are like 100 degrees.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot over to YouTube.
What the hell did he just say?
Oh man.
Because we have a whole bunch of questions there and I wanna get through some of them. So Shoot and Show says, I have a Siley return fuel system. My boost reference port on the fuel pressure regulator is currently open to atmosphere. Do you guys prefer it hooked up and why?
It depends on how the tune's configured and who's tuning it. If we're tuning it, it's not a bad idea to hook it up, but we kind of take that on a case-by-case basis. If it's a low boost setup, we won't require it. If it's a high boost setup, we'll require it.
Skylar says, any supporting... Skylar asked on both channels. Sorry,
double dipping. Stop double dipping, guys.
Double dipping.
No.
We'll get to your question if we see it. And if there's enough shares and likes, I'll go back. Last week there wasn't enough, so I'm not going to go back and answer any of those questions.
That's what you get.
So if you want me to go in there and answer your questions, either like, share, and subscribe, or ask them again next week, or the following week, or the following week if you guys don't share and subscribe this stuff, because we take a lot of the times hour and a half out of our day to do this. It's only worth it for us to do this if you guys help us get it out there.
Exactly.
Josh is commenting on you wearing a hoodie in Florida. He says, too funny.
When you have the flu, it's not exactly, the best conditions, bud. What the hell's wrong with you?
77 Ford Bug says, what's up, guys? Enjoy listening to you guys every Tuesday and on Thursdays. Just picked up a 15 GT Auto. What cold air would you guys recommend? Also, your thoughts on E85 and cold air kit for now.
Cold air. What do we support? The big three,
the
big four. Whatever.
The biggest ones that we end up doing tunes for are JLT, PMOS, and CNL.
Yep. CNL, I forgot. American
the CNL
Muscle.
Racer, that's like 90% of what I do in that system.
Right.
I think it's mainly because that's what they sell.
Right.
But yeah, so JLT, PMOS, and CNL Racer. I'd say ranking below those, and the number that we do, not necessarily in quality, is the Steeda ProFlow and like Air Raid. I'd say would be the one just below that.
Yep. And then in terms of E85, we love E85. It's a great thing. It's wonderful. If it's available in your area and you want to get it on your S550 Mustang, all you need is a tune if it's naturally aspirated, and we can party.
Yep.
Chris says, any experimenting with the 2018 manifold on a 2015?
Nope. Well, did you get logs back from Homeboy?
I've got logs back from him, but he had a vacuum leak.
Oh.
It was like 40% on fuel trims, and then he's like, oh, I found this thing disconnected. So I'll have more information for you guys on that, and probably this week. I have to look at logs that he sent in over the weekend.
Yeah. Now, it looks to be, the data seems to be a little bit better than the GT350 intake manifold. That's what everyone seems to, we personally haven't done it, but it seems to be that's what the data suggests everywhere else. So if you guys want to pick one up and get it on your car, I can't imagine it being any worse than a GT350 intake manifold.
Yeah.
Chris says, does VMP install rear gears, and do I need a retune if I change from stock to 373s?
We do.
Depends on, it depends on the car.
Well, first, do we do rear gear swaps here?
We prefer to do differential swaps. Setting up gears is kind of like a witchcraft thing.
Was it an S550 question?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If it's an S550, that makes it super simple. We would prefer to just get you a dropout pumpkin out of something else and then throw it in there.
Right. But if it's an S197, we have a tech that's insanely well equipped to do whatever. He built my engine, so gears are not an issue.
Yep.
In terms of the tune, I think Joe was alluding to about the programming on the S550.
Yeah, an S550, if you change the gears in an S550, they're not affected like an 11 to 14 is in terms of either speedo or trans shifting unless you get into the extreme end of the spectrum where you're like a 410 gear, which is silly on an S550. But if you throw a 410 in, there's not necessarily RPM anticipated shifts, but the acceleration rate is so high that sometimes that can cause issues that we're able to counteract. But within the realm of reason, there's no two change necessary for S550. Outside of the realm of reason, there's stuff that we can do to correct it. In 11 to 14 S197, the gears need to be accounted for in the tune for the car to shift correctly.
100%.
Tony says, will your VMP tensioner fit for an 03 Cobra?
We don't make a VMP tensioner specifically for the 03 Cobra.
Got it.
LOLs says, will we do a Fox body project car?
Hit up sales and support. I know that's a thing that we've been talking about, but I don't think that's something that we ever got an actual yay or nay on.
Right.
So,
a couple of us personally have Coyote swap projects, but as a VMP under the VMP banner, we don't have one yet.
Could hit up power by the hour though.
William Hunt is commenting that Alex is quieter than Joe this week.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to like pump up my tone for you guys because you all
Is it the
cry like
microphone
babies
or-
that I'm quiet.
I can put the microphone right in my mouth. You guys can really hear me.
William says, if you have a dyno tune and want a remote VMP tune, is there any way to save the dyno tune or the computer has to be returned to stock?
If you're currently tuned by VMP, we will already have your tune. If you're not currently tuned by VMP, then if it's an S197, the SET device will save the old tune as a stock file as long as that was the file that was on it when a new SET was loaded onto it. 15, they will not do that. So in short, if you're getting a dyno tune, you probably shouldn't be worrying about the tune that was previously on there.
Right.
Whether or not it will be saved is a device-specific situation and a case-specific. I can't talk today.
It's okay.
I'm trying to increase my volume, and you guys got me all messed up.
Just talk into the mic more.
Just
Like this.
oh wait, I'm over here.
Matt says, I'm going to buy an 18 F-150 and have them Roush charge it. What kind of power do you think it will make? What kind of power will it make with our tune and a smaller pulley on 93?
We're not there yet.
18 is a completely different animal.
Yeah.
So we don't have our hands on one yet. We haven't tuned an 18 with a blower yet. So once we do, we'll be able to tell you specifics. But it's not going to be a slow process. It's going to be, it's going to be a big deal to get one done. Once we get it all dialed in, I'm sure we'll be able to make decent power. But we don't know yet, honestly. It's not even out. The kit's not even out.
Yeah, the Roush kit. I want to say they were anticipating another few months on that kit.
Wow. Okay.
But
I wonder.
I'd have to confirm.
Yeah. I'll just call Roush, see what the deal is.
Yeah.
Let's call Jack.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, Jack?
Jack, what's up, man?
What's going on, Jack?
Hit the road,
Hey,
Jack.
how you doing, bud? How you doing?
Chris, we already did that one again.
Is he double dipping again?
Kenneth says, looking to run a F-150 on my CJ intake with PMAS CAI and VMP twin 67 throttle body on E85 or 93. What would I need to buy from us guys to tune this setup besides the nitrous outlet kit?
Did he say nitrous?
I was like, what?
Where did nitrous come from?
I was like, oh, nitrous.
Oh, well, that makes it different. I don't know. Contact sales and support, and we'll get you squared away.
Yeah, basically, they're the front line. You tell them the setup, and we'll tell you whether we support it or not. That, to me, sounded like it was like an NA car. Then all of a sudden you said nitrous at the end. I was like, just hit us up at sales and support, and we'll answer your questions there.
Someone wants to know if you do hat flaps for tacos.
No. First of all, I'm Puerto Rican, not Mexican, so screw
Oh.
you. So tacos aren't my thing. And no, I don't know.
But they are tasty.
They are tasty. We actually introduced the Aussies to Taco Bell while they were here.
Man.
The cinnamon twists, they were like, oh my effing god! They were like,
It was awesome.
It was a good time.
It's so weird. It's like giving a baby a lemon.
Give me a bit.
Just to see the reaction?
Exactly.
Yeah, got it. Half flat for tacos.
I think it's Queevy is the name.
No, my.
Not sure. What do you guys think of the Department of Boost supercharger kits for the Coyotes 5.0?
They work just fine. A lot of their kits utilize a stock blower. I've tuned a few of them. Usually with 122 superchargers, I think I've done one of them that had a 2300 on it, but they work just fine. And if you're on a budget, I mean, they're a bit cheaper than Roush's kit or our kit, but there's certain things that you give up to have that.
Sorry, I'm coughing, guys.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Scott says, I'm thinking about switching to VMP because I don't like my Lund tune.
Whoa,
Let's
not bash people.
Yeah.
Am I wasting my money? Are the tunes very similar to the average customer?
Oh.
That's a NA Gen 2 Coyote.
Oh my God.
If it's an NA Gen 2 Coyote, you need to contact Lund because you shouldn't be having problems with that tune. The NA stuff is very basic. Generally, the only time there's problems, if there's problems with the configuration, whether you have a vacuum leak or something like that. With that being said, contact Lund, but if you want a tune from us, we're not going to turn you away, but we're
always going to ask you to work with your current tuner, especially like someone like Lund.
Yeah, and especially when it's something as simple as a naturally aspirated 18. Typically, that's a problem with the configuration.
Right.
Frankly, if you're having a problem with their tune,
and
you want to get tuned by us, I'd probably want to see a data log first because there's probably something wrong with the configuration of the car.
Right.
And I don't want you to buy a tune from us, have the same problem, and then be like, oh, what the hell?
What?
Neither of these big name tuners can tune.
They both suck.
Yeah, I tried them both.
Yeah.
Tony says, Cobra, typical IAT2 temps to expect with VMP blower with heat exchanger without fans versus stock heat exchanger.
So the question is,
So he's asking you,
with our blower, aftermarket heat exchanger versus stock heat exchanger.
yeah, what are the average temps to be expected?
Depends on ambient, depends on driving conditions, depends on whether or not you're stock cams or not.
No, man, tell me the temperature.
Are you running ram air or cold air? There's way too many variables to that question to give you a.
I need a temperature.
This is what they are, and this is what they should be.
Just tell me the temperature, man. Okay, you're just beating around the bush. You don't want to tell me what's the temperature going to be.
If it's 80 degrees ambient, you started the car 10 minutes ago, and it's a cold air intake, you're probably going to be like a 100 degree downstream.
100 degree. That's all I need to know.
Yep.
Thank you.
It's 150. What's wrong with my car?
Exactly. Yeah.
No offense, but that you're
80 degrees Fahrenheit. Is what he says.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean at 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
Cold air, blah blah blah.
It depends on a lot of variables. There's not a global answer to a complicated question like that.
JLT high boot under watt.
It's not that simple, man. There's not a single answer to that question. I mean, you can have
stock cam.
He's gonna keep on.
All right. My Cobra as an example. 80 degree ambient, like a 110 downstream at the beginning of the pole, and like a 130, 135 at the end of the pole, and like a third gear pole.
That's as general as he's gonna get.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna give you no more specifics than that.
Ken came back about the 150 that he was talking about. He goes, I meant a 150 shot of nitrous on a CJ setup. I'd like to buy a tune from us.
Yeah, we can tune it, but get with the sales and support team as to the complete configuration, what we want to see, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Melvin says, greetings from Puerto Rico.
Hola. I think he said greetings last week.
I think so.
He does. He's tuning in each
He's
week.
consistent.
Yeah.
Alexandra Woods, I have a 78 millimeter pulley on my Roush Charge 13 GT. Will a 67 millimeter throttle body give it gains?
It sure will.
Absolutely.
As long as you're on a 60 right now.
Right. Well, I have a mono. Go backwards.
Hold on, Chris asked that again. Murphy says, shout out from UAE to Alex and Joe. Great work. Keep it up. Thanks, Alex, for all the cars you tuned for me. They're running great.
What's his name?
Murphy TB.
No, I know Salim Fadak is the only...
Maybe it's a alias.
It's probably an alias.
Yeah, it says there's a gentleman named Salim Fadak in Saudi Arabia. I can't believe
Hani Mustafa?
Hani Mustafa. Those guys build GT500s. I mean, you name it, they're constant. And you know what? They're easy to work with. They build a common combo. They go, you know, this pulley, this throttle body, and then just go, get me a tune. It works. Thank you. There is no ton of back and forth. They just get it done. I love shops like that, and they go after it over there. They don't mess around.
Hector wants to know, do you recommend a methanol injection system on a Coyote turbo already using ethanol?
No.
No, not at all. It's kind of...
Ethanol's adding all the octane you need.
Yeah, no, you don't. No.
John says, hey guys, Alex, nice to see you're feeling better. Will the intercooler for the 2.3 fit the Gen 3?
Yeah. The intercooler for the
2.3.
I'm wondering if he's talking about Gen 3 Coyote Supercharger, if the intercooler inside the lower intake will fit in the lower intake of the Gen 3 2018 blower.
I think you're going too far. I don't know.
So the Gen 3 bolts on in place of Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 2R, and Roush.
Right.
So at that point, intercooler doesn't matter. But if he's
talking about the intercooler itself of a Gen 3, but there is no Gen 3 intercooler. There's just a...
Exactly. It's built into the manifold on 5-liter and GT500. If you're thinking Cobra stuff, forget it. It's completely different on Lightning, GT500, and Coyote. The intercooler is bolted to the lower manifold, so the only thing that matters from a fitment standpoint is whether or not the blower bolts onto the footprint of the intake manifold.
Yep.
Nick says, will something like a BBK tune length shorty header be worthwhile for power and sound improvement on a 500 wheel horsepower 4.62 valve?
No.
No.
But that's from the power standpoint. If you want it from the sound standpoint, it'll sound completely different from stock manifolds.
That sounds pretty sweet.
At the end of the day, it's up to you whether or not that's worth it. If you want the different sound and you're willing to spend, what, $550, $600
It's a shorty,
on
though.
it, it's still BBK, so it might be ceramic coated, mild steel, and
got it.
Put long tubes on it.
If you're gonna do that, just put long tubes. Long tube sounds just way better. I love how they sound.
Even on 2 valves, they sound good.
2 valves really sound good. It just sucks that they make no power. Stock.
Shot through the heart.
Right. You're too late. You gotta understand, behind the scenes, Carrie has 2 screens in front of her, and she has to basically monitor two areas of questions, copy paste them in her note so she can see them. It's a whole thing going on back there.
Dakota says,
should I switch? Chuck on through. She's just like, that's enough of me.
Dakota says, should I switch from air raid to PMOS? Any differences in drivability or performance?
Performance.
Yeah, performance, but drivability, as long as you're tuned for it, you shouldn't notice anything drivability-wise.
And Murphy's in Dubai, not in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Okay, so Dubai. I'm trying to think who.
What's his real name?
What's his real name? That's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, PMAS has a cleaner signal, but like you said, drivability, you're not going to see a huge difference. It'll perform a little better, the PMAS for sure. It's just a cleaner signal.
It's not 60 horsepower
No.
at 2,000 RPM when you're cruising.
Hell no, not at all.
Justin says, this guy Justin comes on and says, you should mace his face with Lysol so you don't get the flu.
Right.
Sorry.
I got the immune system, though.
He's good.
Knock on
He
wood.
made out last night. It's all
Yeah,
good.
I'm still good. I haven't gotten any of the symptoms yet, so
Yep, not yet.
it was a filter test.
Matt says, what are your thoughts on the Roush Supercharger for 18s? What do you think the power limits of it will be? How does it compare to the new VMP Supercharger for the 18s?
For the 18s, our 18 Supercharger.
Yeah.
Our 18 Supercharger that we just...
Keep in mind, we're making a blower. The Gen 3 is going to be like 07 GT500 to 17 GT. That's what Gen 3 VMP is going to encompass. And then we're making a separate blower for Cobra. But comparison between the two, I think at some point in time, the 87mm throttle body that comes on the Roush Ford racing kits is going to become a restriction for what most people are doing on pump gas. It's probably not going to be an issue. That 2650 is still going to make a lot of power on pump gas. But our advantage is our ability to run larger throttle bodies on the inlet of the supercharger.
That in conjunction with a bigger cold air, because you're limited to like a 110, I think, on a Roush blower. So yeah, I mean, I think eventually it'll become a restriction. At what power will that become a restriction? We don't know yet.
And just keep in mind that because the blowers that we're talking about are for 2 different applications, that it's not like you're going to be able to put Gen 3 VMP on an 18.
No.
No, we're going to be making a package, but that's all I'm going to say.
Right.
Murphy in Dubai came back and said last 2 cars was a GT
500?
Was a 15 GT.
Okay. I did one with a PMOS intake not too long ago.
Was GT 15 GT 350 intake and GT 500.
Got it, yeah.
Okay. So EM2K20 says, trying to get a tune for meth injection. Why is there so much problems from you guys with people who use meth injection?
There's not that there's problems. It's that people think it adds unlimited octane on PD blower setups when it doesn't.
Just let it go.
It cools the air charge,
Let
but
it go.
I mean, we'll tune you naturally aspirated, no problem. We'll tune you blower, no problem. We'll tune you nitrous, no problem. But when you're like, all right, well, I want a tune that's super aggressive on methanol on a naturally aspirated setup, but since it's going to richen my air-fuel mixture, I want you guys to lean it out. No, we're not going to lean it out because within reason, being a little bit rich from your meth isn't going to hurt power. And if you run out of meth and for whatever reason your little light that tells you you're low doesn't come on or you don't notice it and we've leaned you out, if it's a car that runs in open loop at watt instead of closed loop, you're going to run lean. If it's a car that runs closed loop, it's going to try to add fuel in. Whether or not it can add fuel in fast enough is kind of case dependent. So to answer your question, we'll tune you for meth. Don't expect a very large change, and we're not going to lean it out because you're on meth.
No amount of complaining is going to make us change our ways.
Yeah.
Love you, but we just know what we're doing, I think, and we have a certain way we operate. You don't go to McDonald's and ask for a Whopper. Plain and simple. I want a damn Whopper, but I want a Whopper at McDonald's. That's not how it works. Okay, we know what we're doing when it comes to configuring the files and how we like them to be configured. That's how it's going to be. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Love you.
We're happy to help you.
Happy to help, but
just keep in mind,
you're not going to tell us what to do.
We know what works and what doesn't.
Exactly.
Jai says, can you tune a 2000 GT with a SCT XCal 2, or do I need to upgrade to an X4?
X4, man. Just get an X4. Don't mess around.
From a sake of can or cannot, we can.
But
if you have an issue with the device, SCT isn't going to support it.
Not going to support it.
Beards and Cars says, I own a local shop here on Lake Conroe, Texas. Can I buy direct from us?
What do you want to buy direct?
Anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just go to the website and
the only state that we don't sell to is California.
Because California.
And I mean, we sell to Germany,
Dubai,
Russia,
Australia,
South Korea, North Korea.
Sweden. It's literally, yeah. I've tuned cars in the Koreas. Not North Korea.
Good luck getting an email out of that country.
Can I get a log? Oh, he's dead.
EM2K20 came back and he says, so you will do a tune for me. I understand precautions.
Yeah, but don't say, lean out this and do this. And no. We're here.
He says he's looking for more ignition optimization and some shift point and firmness adjustments.
Okay. But if you have like a 72 millimeter pulley on the car?
Well, ignition optimization, do you mean adding 3 degrees on 93 even though the knock sensors are knocking back 3?
That's the thing. A lot of people are like, I need this, I need that.
Well, my timing's low. I have meth. All right.
We'll tell you what you need.
Yeah.
We'll tell you what you need.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to work.
Send us a data, or get a tune, send us a data log. We'll tell you what's working and what's not, and what we're willing to do based on the setup.
Exactly.
Christopher says, a 17 GTPP. GTPP. Is there an 8.8 that is a direct bolt-in, or what needs to happen? This IRS wheel hop sucks. Thanks, guys. Love Tuning Tuesdays.
Change your tires. Step 1.
Number 1, yeah, you're probably on Pirelli P0s and you're complaining. You're probably on stock vertical links, stock toes, stock
no bushing lockouts.
No bushing lockouts, nothing. And you're complaining. And then you're going to want to turn the car eventually. And you're going to go, man, there's no solid axle. I mean, Watson.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a $5,000 Watson kit you can put in the car, but on the same tires, it may not necessarily solve your wheel hop issue if the wheel hops from tires and like the clutch engagement or the track surface and
a bunch of different things.
All that shit.
Exactly.
But
the car is made more to turn. We Americans love to drag race, so we had to. The aftermarket solved a lot of those issues. So UPR and other suspension companies have great parts out there that'll lessen wheel hop, and just look them up.
I'm about to crank that AC down. It's getting hot in here.
Yeah,
I don't know how you're alive with that sweater.
No, I'm dying. I'm legit dying.
We're getting a fan. I'm turning it down.
Just going to go off camera. We're good. We're pros here. There you go.
It's all good. John says, I'm adding, this is Alex.
Yeah.
I'm adding a Cervini stalker hood with a functional scoop and functional ram air vented over my PMAS.
Nope.
Would I need a retune?
You're going to have a bunch of surgeon with that. Look, I'm not going to talk badly about any company. This is what I'm going to tell you. The way PMAS designs their intake is shielded, and it's supposed to take in air from a non-direct source. Okay, if you look at an S550 or even an S197, they shield it from the engine bay for heat, and then the only air that it'll see it comes up from the bottom of the car or through the grille slightly, and it doesn't come in directly and have turbulent air. If you have a open scoop sucking in air, shoving it into the sensor and swirling around, you're gonna have a bad time. I guarantee you're gonna have a bad time. No retune on the planet is going to fix that.
Yeah, because it's going to be a hardware issue, not a software issue.
Exactly.
Nelson has a couple questions, actually. So first, he says, awesome work, guys.
Thank you.
Wants to know if you're going to Bradenton. And then he says, a 14 Gen 1 Coyote swap, BBK1 long tube, Boss intake, JLT, T45 with 373. What kind of numbers?
Depends on your fuel quality, 390 to 420 on the higher side if the car's really happy and your fuel quality is good. But yes, we'll be at Bradenton.
Yes.
I don't think we're bringing the dyno though, right?
No, we're not going to go in dyno
we're
capacity. We're just going to go to race and have a good old time with friends.
And party.
And party.
Party with race
I'm going
cars.
to do my best to get the red car tested on. I've been just sick and out of, just down and out, and I haven't really even tested the car at the track. If I go to the track and the car doesn't perform like I want it to perform, I'm not bringing it. I'm just not going to make a fool of myself out there unless it's ready. So, but I'll go there, and support people that are there, our vendors and our company, and just kind of be there to hang out.
Jose says, comp cam stage 1 versus 15 Mustang cams for 2016 F-150.
Wow.
The Mustang cams will not work like you think they will in an F-150. And I don't think they make a comp cam for 15 up F-150. They have a different firing order.
Right,
So get with comp and confirm they even make one specifically for 15 up F-150 because it does need to be different for Mustang.
Right.
Chris wants to know, does VMP sell the fans to mount onto the Phase 1 kit's heat exchangers, or would I have to buy a new heat exchanger with the fans already mounted? It's a 2013 VMP Stage 1.
We used to. I don't know whether or not we still do. Contact sales and support for a updated answer on that. They'll be able to tell you.
Trying to see what they wrote here. We'll move to the next one. Dylan says, opinions on locking out the cams versus leaving the phasers in place on a 5.0 with a 2.3 blower with aftermarket cams in a maximum effort application.
Leave the VCT on.
Yeah, if you want maximum power across the RPM band, leave the phasers in. If you want it to be super consistent and like an old, I hate that I have to say old GT500 or an old Cobra.
Yeah, but it is old.
If you want to make it fixed cam really consistent, lock out the cams, and that's if you're willing to sacrifice low-end power and possibly high-end power depending on where you degree the cams in.
Right.
I think it's silly to lock the cams in on anything that has the ability to control the VCT. If you're on a standalone, there's some standalones that don't support VCT, so you have to lock the cams out. But if you're on a stock ECU and you have the ability to run phasers, run phasers.
Jonathan says FRPP 2.3 Whipple versus 2.3 TVS, which is better and why?
TVS, by far, honestly. We've done testing when the most I've seen like on a 79 mil. Well, they don't go 79. They go like 3125 or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's say
10 to 11 pounds.
10 to 11 pounds, 570 to 600 on a 2.3 FRPP. Ours can be 630 and up, 630, 640, no problem. It's just not even. Rotor design different, case difference. It's honestly not even close.
Yep. That, and I don't even think you can buy the old Whipple kit anymore.
No, I saw it at Carlisle. This Canadian gentleman had a big purple stallion on the side of his car, and it made like 590, and I was surprised it made 590. And he's like, "How much would it make if it had ours?" I go, "I don't know, like 640." He's like, "I'll see you next year." I was like, "Yes."
Kenneth says, "Is there an advantage of running E85 on nitrous over 93 octane?"
Yes. Your resistance to detonation is going to be significantly higher on E85 versus 93. The power difference really depends on what your tuner's doing.
Jimmy says, "Hey guys, thanks for taking time out of your day to do this show. What do you recommend for crankcase evacuation on supercharged applications? Is a catch can sufficient?
A catch can for 90% of people is sufficient. If you're building a 15, 16 pound race car and you want to make sure that and by 15, 16 pound race car, I mean 5 liter, because at 15, 16 pounds,
and
you are
compression.
Yeah, you're moving a lot of air, and you're doing so at a very high efficiency. But for 90% of people, the catch can solved 90% of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
For someone that wants to make sure there's absolutely no oil in the air charge, you can do the header collector adapter things that evacuate the crankcase via kind of like a Venturi effect.
So it never goes back in the blower.
Yep.
It just goes out the exhaust.
Yep.
That's kind of the surefire way. Or breathers if you want your car to stink.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, I mean, the Venturi effect, or like he said, 90% of the guys that have like 10 pounds of boost, 11 pounds of boost, catch can's fine. As long as it's routed properly and you drain it, regularly, you shouldn't really have much of an issue.
Yep.
Adam says stock 15 S550 GT manual with 331 rear gears.
Mm-hmm.
What is your suggestion for daily driving mods? Also, what wheel tire size combo would you recommend for daily driving / racing in Mexico?
Daily driving / racing. Best combo for daily driving.
A 17-inch rear wheel and tire, so because you'll have better tire choices in the drag radial section, which if you're thinking about doing racing in Mexico and driving on the tire, drag radial is really your best option there, because you're going to be running a radial front. Best mods depends on your budget.
I've seen guys that have a blower and run on a 17 ET Street SS, because an R is not rain friendly. Not that an SS is, but an R is not as friendly than an SS in rain. But yeah, it all depends on what you want to do. If you're racing in Mexico and you really want to party, if you're NA, I love just a cold air, good tune, long tubes, E85 with 47s, GT350 man intake, and I'm telling you, people like Nickel White, people like Scott Schubel, who we used to tune back in the day, ran deep 11s with a setup like that on 17-inch rubber. So that's budget friendly, quick for what it is, and easy to maintain. So that's probably the best setup in my opinion.
EM2K20 says rough up estimate on a 72 millimeter TVS 2.3 on E85 so I can compare to my power now on just 93 in MEP.
Did he say if it was S550 or S197?
S550 is the same dude.
Okay,
so he's on a 72 millimeter pulley on a stock Roush tune with MEP.
Silly. Very silly.
That's what we're starting off with. I'm just kind of laying out what we're starting off with.
So on a 15 to 17 car, 72 millimeter pulley, manual, with a decent inlet, whether we'll call it a twin 67, because in my mind it's silly to have a stock twin 60 on with a 72 millimeter pulley.
But that's what he's got, because he's got a Roush tune in it still. Exactly.
You're limiting yourself with the throttle body and with the use of a pump gas fuel like 93, and even with the methanol, you're not helping yourself. But
72 millimeter on the 85 can make it in the 700 horsepower range. Rear wheel. Easily.
I've seen it 8 as well.
Okay.
So
like
right at 8.
Don Giff made 780, but he had cams, and we kept timing conservative. Not conservative, but he has an illuminator, but he doesn't need to make that much power. He just wanted to bump up his power, and he had a Roush blower, Gen 1 Roush blower. Yeah. So him with a Gen 2R or something like that would make 800, like that.
That, or if it's a 15 to 17 Mongoose, it's going to make more power than the 11 to 14 Roush blower.
Yep.
But yeah, I've seen higher 7s, very, very low 8s on a 72 millimeter pulley, with all other conditions being good and fuel quality being good.
Kamana says Michelin Pilot Super Sports for dailies.
They're good tires, but if you want them to hook up on a dig, they're not going to do well on a dig.
At all.
They'll do decent from a roll on a naturally aspirated car.
Right.
Scott says, I'm thinking about switching to VMP. Oh,
that and pilots are like $300 a tire.
Some people are baller.
Oh, I know, but it's just kind of silly if you can get away with a drag radial.
I want to adjust my butt here.
Salvador wants to know, did Rebecca's car have the Gen 3 2.65? If so, what pulley combo did she use on the 5.28 pass?
That is a question for Justin.
You could tune in on Thursday to the burnout box.
And whether or not Justin wants to divulge any of that stuff, he can make that decision during the burnout box. I'm not going to say
at 6
anything. Because that's still like R&D stuff.
That's R&D stuff, yeah.
Dylan says, I'm interested in your opinion of locking out the cams on maximum. Did we already do that? Maximum effort applications? Yeah, versus cam phasers. William says, I replaced the BOV with a larger one in hopes that it might fix the issue. It did not. Also,
What larger one did you put on? That's the real question.
Also, this is not while in cruise control, more like first, second, third gear, part throttle.
Oh, gosh.
At this point, I'm pretty confident it's in the tune. Was just hoping you could point me in the right direction on Tuning Tuesday. As he winks at you.
Send me a data log and I'll be able to tell you whether or not it's in the tune. End of discussion.
William says, Alex, where'd you get your Ford Star drag wheels from?
Ford Star. I had probably one of the first sets out there.
You probably bought them before.
I bought them before
Ford Star was acquired.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'll admit I get things, I get things offered to me first, often. And I saw these and I wanted them. And I think after SEMA 2 years ago, I said I want them. And
well, I was saying that I think Ford Star got bought by American Muscle.
Yeah, and
so now you can only buy through American Muscle.
Yeah, I literally bought them from Ford Star. Yep.
Ian says, any plans for the 2650 TVS on a 2 or 3 valve?
Hell no.
No.
Today? Hell no.
The only plan would be that if someone like Torque Tech wants to offer a Cobra blower swap that will work with 2650, then they can feel free to do so, and you can feel free to put it on your car. But we will not make a specific kit for those.
Mike says, Alex, do you ever mess with JZ Motors and AEM?
No.
JZ as in 1 JZ, 2 JZ, 1.5 JZ?
No, I'm
2.5 JZ?
I'm a Coyote guy, Coyote and GT500, and 3 valve. Gosh, and 2 valve too, fuck, all this stuff. I'm a Ford guy, and I haven't really messed with any other motors or any other kind of operating software besides HP tuners and SCT. That's kind of
on stock ECUs.
On stock ECUs, yeah.
I'm only going to take a handful more questions because we're actually at 2:30. So if people on Facebook, in particular, want the rest of your questions, because there's a whole bunch of them here, answered, then what do they do?
Like, share, or subscribe, or not or, and subscribe.
Yeah, like and share. So like and share the posts so that way Joe will then go back after the fact and he will answer all the remaining questions that are there and take care of it.
Yep.
Should we give him a number?
No.
Okay.
No.
Ken says, do we ship to Canada, and will data logging help the tune work more efficiently?
Yes.
Yes and yes, but data logging in every case isn't necessarily going to make the tune better if the tune's already good out of the box. So depends on the variance and the setup. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. Much better.
Andrew's.
Go ahead.
Are you done? Sorry.
Yeah, I can be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Andrew, sorry.
It's okay.
Andrew said, 03 Cobra idling rough unless the clutch is pushed in. Once I let the clutch out, the car goes lean and dies. I replaced the IAC valve, tune as the O2 sensors off due to wideband in. Any ideas? Fuel pressure drops to 33 when the car dies as well. Any help?
Fuel pressure at 33, as long as you have a real pressure sensor and the function's still correct, shouldn't be an issue. And injector data has to be incorrect for that too. But you probably have a vacuum leak somewhere that it's not being accounted for. If you're tuned via wideband and the car is in open loop, then you have some sort of fuel or air count error. So if it was running fine before, now it's not, I'd start looking at vacuum leaks first. Make sure your MAF hasn't become decoupled and has a vacuum leak there. And then there's also a PCV hose at the driver's side rear of the blower on Cobras that likes to perforate with mileage because of oil. It deteriorates the rubber and then it starts leaking. Check there first, and then the hose coming up from the lower intake back over sometimes gets chafed by either the wiring harness or the bracket supporting it and gets a hole in there. So check around for vacuum leaks, then contact your tuner and tell them what's up.
Billy says, since HP Tuners is open source and not something you offer as a remote tune option, can I bring a Coyote vehicle and have it tuned with HP Tuners using an N gauge? I have a similar setup to Jim Ferraro.
Jim Ferraro does not have a 15 to 17 Mustang. Jim Ferraro has a 15 to 17 F-150.
Truck.
If you're willing to bring the car to the shop and use an Engage, I will tune it. If you're wanting to do a remote and us send you a tune that's married to a cable, no. I will do it with Engage here, in my hands. Nowhere else.
Slab Shack.
Listen to me.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now.
Says, do I need injectors to go E85 on a bolt-on 14 GT500? If so, what injectors?
Bolt-on GT500, you need thousands at least. But if it's a 1314, you might be okay with a booster and a thousands.
It depends on the pulley combo.
Right.
Bolt-ons is a very vague.
Well, yeah, that's true. You can bolt on another blower.
Yeah, or you can bolt on a stage 4 kit. A stage 4 kit is fine with 56s.
Yep.
But a 2.4 and a 10% or a 15%
Yeah.
is not okay on 56s without a booster pump.
But
so,
he wants, to go E85.
oh, to go E85?
Right. So you need at least thousands.
Yeah, I
But
mean, you can
then-
get away with E85 on a 1314 at mild boost on stock pumps with a booster.
Like a 2.4 upper?
Yeah, like a 2.4 upper only with ID1000s and a set of boosters. You can get away with it on E85, but frankly, you have a 1314 GT500 and you're modding it, just throw a fuel system in it, it'll give you some headroom.
Right.
Robert says, what's the difference between low impedance injectors versus high impedance?
Whether or not it'll work on a stock ECU is the difference.
Ryan says, hey guys, E85 not available here. Snow meth kit worth the headache. NA now will be adding a PD blower down the road.
A lot of Chevy guys must be buying Fords lately because the meth question has been just unbelievable.
No, there's got to be posts on Mustang 6G or something about it.
Gotta be some guy or some companies pushing meth down everyone's throat, which is fine.
Because it costs $450 and they make $200 on every sale they sell it on.
Yeah, I remember I had one guy in Arizona had 91 octane, and he's like, Alex, I'm gonna throw meth on it, and I'm like, okay, fine. And it's high sixes, but man, I couldn't control fueling properly. I didn't want to pull fuel so that meth would actually balance out. I said, hey man, it's gonna be on the richer side, but it looks pretty good. Measured air fuel seems to be okay. Short terms are kind of fucky, for lack of a better word. And he was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not, but as a data guy looking at it, I'm like, it's just messy. But yeah, what?
The sheep.
Yeah, man, it's just I get it. Some Chevy guys live and die by it, but because they're on the stock injector and
they're not running a PD blower.
Exactly. So if you want to do it, fine. We'll tune it. We're not going to tune it some stupid way where we're just pulling fuel out of the cal to make up for the meth.
Oh, I don't care what the NOx sensor is saying. Just put timing in it. No, thank you.
Not doing that either.
Okay, so I'm going to make one more question, and then I'm just going to read off a couple comments that I think are worth kind of reading off.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, because there's a whole lot of questions still on Facebook, and if you want Joe to go back, there's a whole slew of them. Slew.
Not
Yeah.
slew.
Slew. Kamana says, S197 daily in Hawaii, a lot of rain, so needs something better in wet conditions tire-wise.
Then Pilot Sport's going to be your best bet, but even then they're not the best in wet conditions.
Yeah.
So I thought I would share some comments here that are coming in just because it's kind of cool to see where some of the people are tuning in from. So Angel says, you two guys are awesome. His shout out from the Cayman Islands.
Yep.
There's Alexander, shout out from Canada. Brandon says, VMP for the win. You guys are the best. Shout out from Fresno, California.
Too bad we can't do any business over there.
I know. And Justin comes in and says, I've watched every Tuner Tuesday, and they just keep getting better and better, learning a lot.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
Solid.
So,
dude, sweet.
And apparently Angel is going to be in Bradenton from the Cayman Islands, so he's looking forward to seeing you there.
Oh, man.
Very good.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Come by, we could touch tips.
Oh, please.
Tips of pens.
Yeah.
Duh.
Oh,
God.
please.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And with
might not
that
have
said, you guys, if you want to like and share, share. You want to mention the winner again?
Steve Spinda.
Spinda.
It's Spinda.
Naming the car Chucky.
Yep.
We picked it out of a hat totally randomly. And
completely random.
We basically love the name, and hopefully you'll see you'll see videos of the car coming up pretty soon. Are we going to start releasing some videos?
We're in the process of putting the videos together.
Okay.
So That will still probably be a little bit down the road. But Steve was his name?
Spinda.
Steve
Spinda.
So I will reach out to you via email and get your shirt size and hat size so that we can get that in the mail to you. So I'll need your address. And Jai decided that he wanted to chime in too. Shout out from Albuquerque.
Albuquerque,
So-
New Mexico. Very nice. The home of the
91 octane and
E50
high elevation.
E54.
You know?
All day. Thanks for watching, guys. So remember, tune in for Burnout Box Thursday, 6 o'clock. That'll be Justin and Donnie. I'm sure if you have any specific questions about Gen 3 and Rebecca's setup, that's where you ask. So
Whether or not you get answers is up to Justin.
Exactly.
But that's where you can ask.
So anyway, thanks for watching, guys.
Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Bing.